I have historically called myself a romance reader, but I haven't read a romance in 2025 yet that wasn't romantic-y. Let's fix that today. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brie and this is 4 Paws in a Book. I have historically said that my channel started out as a romance channel and I have read a ton of romance. I have so many favorite romance books, but somehow I have not picked up a contemporary romance story this year. Which, like, I know we're only like 6 weeks into the year. It's not that big of a deal, but it is weird for me, okay? It is weird for me. So I thought today we would fix that. And I am going to be reading 3 new release contemporary romance books that have been on my anticipated releases that I am very excited about and from authors that I definitely want to try more of. First up, I'm going to be reading Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I do have like the pretty edition with the straight edges, and this is a controversial book. I didn't think it was going to be controversial, but my god, the discussions on TikTok and threads are very interesting. And the most interesting one that I had seen was that this is the Schrodinger's cat of romance books, in that half of the arguments are that this book is too spicy and the other half of the arguments is that it is not spicy enough. And so I don't know how you can write a book that is both too spicy and not spicy enough, but we're going to figure that out. This is a college romance and it is about a professional or like a collegiate diver and a collegiate swimmer. They are working towards going to the Olympics. And I think they have, the synopsis calls, a mutually satisfying fling, but obviously they're gonna catch some feelings, which is gonna be a lot of fun. I have been very hit or miss with Ali Hazelwood. I have very publicly stated that I do not like The Love Hypothesis. I gave that book 2 stars. I really, really hated it. I also really didn't like her YA book. I really didn't like Bride, but I really liked Not in Love and Love on the Brain. So I don't know where we're gonna land here. Then I'm gonna be reading A First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I read Love Light Farms from this author, and it was a middle of the road book for me, but this has been comped to Sleepless in Seattle, which is always a fun time. And you know, I'm kind of here for some classic rom-com vibes. This is about a single mom who, her daughter calls into a radio show to get advice for her mom for dating. Which just is funny. And our radio show host has fallen out of love. Despite his name being Aiden Valentine, he has fallen out of love. And he runs a, you know, a love podcast radio show thing. I don't know. Like I said, I was only a middle of the road about Love Light Farms. I have heard that the series gets better, so it is something like on my radar that I will try eventually or go back to. But I wanted to try out this one, and I think I'm actually getting a special edition of this. I forgot to look at what the Afterlight box was for February, and I think it's this one, which, like, oops, my bad. It's fine, it's fine. Hopefully I like the book. I did remember to cancel my Illumicrate one just because there was a lot of controversy around the author being a big Trump supporter. So I remember canceling that one, but I just forgot about Afterlight. And then the last one I'm going to be reading is Whirlwind by Kayla Gross. I don't know how to say her last name. Despite having sat on a panel, I always forget how to pronounce it. This is a Twisters inspired romance about a tornado chaser. It's actually a professor and then his student, so that's gonna be a fun age gap romance. I read Silver Foxed by the same author last year and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and this is also a really big age gap romance, so I know she does it well. This one is a little bit longer, like it's not quite a full-length novel, but it's not really a novella either, like, you know, it's a little bigger. This one is a brand new release to me. I just received it, and it's a self-published. The other 2 are from Berkeley, I think, but this is gonna be self-published. A little bit of indie love that we're going to be doing this week. With that said, let's get in the mood for some romance. It is Valentine's week as I am filming this, so I felt like that was a very good way to kick off the month of love. Hello, I'm 30% of the way into Deep End, and I have some thoughts. First off, this might be my favorite Ali Hazelwood book that I have read, which is saying a lot because I have enjoyed most of her books. Some of them are very middle of the road to, you know, not good, but this one is so fantastic. And I'm wondering if it's because, like, it has a very different feel than some of her other books, specifically her feminist novels. it's definitely younger, right? Because we are dealing with undergrads, and they're professional athletes, and so they are dealing with a lot of different things that some of the other characters in her other books didn't. And maybe that's why, but this book feels more unique. I was also like a little bit concerned about this book. I know that a lot of the discourse in it is that it is very spicy, very, you know, smutty. It's her spiciest book yet. I'd actually would say that Not in Love is more spicy. It's just that this is a different kind of spice. Not in Love, they're doing it very, very early on. Here, we haven't really done it yet. We've talked about doing it, and we've done some things, but we haven't actually done it yet. It's steamy. It's very spicy in the fact that we are talking about kink, but in a very educational way, and I kind of love that. It's a good time. Like, I'm having a fantastic time reading this book. And I'm very pleasantly surprised, to be honest. This could potentially be a 5-star, and I kind of love that journey for me. I will say though, at 30%, it feels like we are much farther into the book than we actually are. Because I feel like a lot has happened. The male main character broke up with his girlfriend, who happens to be the female main character's best friend. It's the whole thing. They're good together. I mean, they're fine. It wasn't like a messy breakup. They just wanted different things. We've discussed like college. We took the MCATs. They have gotten their internship. Like, I'm exhausted with how much has happened. None of that being actual sex. There was a makeout scene in the library that, whew, oh my goodness, my goodness. Anyways, like, a lot has happened here. There have been a lot of story beats, and so it's very fast paced. And so I'm worried that the pacing is going to significantly slow down, that it's either going to exhaust me because we're just going to keep this pace up, or we're going to slog in the middle because too much happened too soon. But right now, I'm having a great time, like living, laughing, loving. That's where we're at. I wanted to stop and talk to you because, like I said, 30% in. I need to go run a couple of errands. I need to go pick up some prescriptions. So I'm gonna go do that. But I thought I would come and talk to you because we actually have sunlight today, so I could do a video clip. Okay, we're gonna make this quick because I am late for work. I definitely slept in a little bit because it was so cold this morning. We're supposed to get a big snowstorm this afternoon into like all of Saturday, which is gonna be just so much fun. Like, it's gonna be on that verge of like freezing, so we're not sure if it's gonna be snow or rain. I think it's gonna be like rain into snow. I don't really know. Right now we don't have anything, like you can see out there. But it's so cold, like single digits Fahrenheit, when I woke up this morning. So love that for me. But I did finish Deep End last night, and I was gonna update you guys a little bit like farther into it, because I wanted to let you know about like the pacing and stuff. But I can tell you that the pacing was fantastic only because I listened to the entire thing last night. I like literally just sat on my couch for probably 4 hours listening to this book. I did like 2 or 3 coloring pages yesterday. It was such a relaxing afternoon / evening. It's been like one of the best little like hyperfixation evenings that I've had, and it was so good, and I'm giving this 5 stars. One thing that I didn't talk about in my original like review of this, or like when I was midway through it, is the concept of mental health. Our main character is a professional diver. She had gotten injured the year before. She'd had to have surgery, and it was like a dive that had injured her. And up until that point, she had not been able to do the dive. Like, she would go and set for the dive, but then her body would do something else. Very much like, if you remember in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, when Simone Biles had to pull out of the competition because she had the twisties, where her body just like was not doing, like, you would get lost in the air. That was what was happening to her. She would go and set for this dive, and then halfway through the dive it would be something else, which is actually like super dangerous. And honestly, like, she probably could have gone into that a little bit farther, but obviously like Ally Hazelwood is not actually a diver, and so I get it. Like, I you know, because she could have, like, if she would have gone into it more, she could have said incorrect information, so leaving it a little bit vague is the smart way to do that, I guess. Anyways, neither here nor there. She is consistently in therapy, and I really, really loved that aspect of it where she was trying to deal with it. And what I was really afraid of was that, when she had sex with Lucas, when she spilled her heart with Lucas, whatever, that like magically she was able to do that dive. And I was really worried that that was the way that we were going, that, sex fixes everything, love fixes everything, and it wasn't. Okay, like they had sex, they talked about their feelings, and like she still couldn't do the dive. It was therapy that fixed the problem. It was, finding it within herself. And that's just something that like I really appreciated. I think that this book is going to be for the fans of Icebreaker. Like if you liked that aspect of it, if you liked that the dynamic between the two characters, if you like the mental health representation in that, like they are stupid college kids, right? They are. But like so are the kids in Icebreaker. It's a very similar just vibe to it. Obviously different sports, but if you like Icebreaker, I think you'll like Deep End too. Just know that like it's a little bit more kinky. However, it's not actually kinky. I mean, like they talk about it, but you never really, it never dives into very like, Red Room 50 Shades type of dynamic. I mean, there's times where like he's choking her, not like choke, but like, the hand necklace type thing. And there are times where like he's definitely dominant, but it is not what I thought it was going to be. It was not, it was not like degrading or anything like that, which is sometimes what you see in like kink style romance, and that's like a stereotype that we get. And I'm glad that it wasn't that way. It was very much like, he's like calls her a good girl kind of thing. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I think that like if you're scared of the kink aspect of this book, or like the trigger warning of like, this is a really smutty book, this is not my STEM novels, like honestly I think Not in Love, which is her book from last year, I think that one was more spicy, more smutty. This one was like so well done, and they communicated. Okay, like they talked. The third act conflict was reasonable, especially for college students, and it was just like it made sense, and it was over very quickly. And I had a great time. I'm giving this book 5 stars. I gave an Allie Hazelwood book 5 stars. Who is she in 2025? So the next book that I'm going to be reading is A First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This book is the second book that I will read from this author. I started the Love Light Farms series. I read Love Light Farms, but I never continued on with the series. So it's definitely something that like I will continue to read. It's just not something that was at the top of my list. Love Light Farms, I think I only gave like 3 or 3.5 stars. It was a very nice like Christmas time romance, but it was very much like Gilmore Girls Hallmark vibes, and that's not always what I'm looking for in a romance. It felt a little bit shallow, kind of like what I was talking about in my romance recommendations video last week. Might have been the video before this. I'm not really sure what my schedule is like. For me, contemporary romances have to have something a little bit more. It has to have something a little bit deeper for me to really enjoy it, and I don't think Love Light Farms did. I do think that the rest of the series does a little bit better with the just nuance, I guess. I don't know, because I've heard really good things about it. I just haven't continued the series. But I have friends that have really liked it. I know Brittany really loves the series. So anyways, I am only on chapter 3 of this book. I just started it on my commute to work this morning, and for some reason, probably because it's like stupid cold and so there's ice, I assume, everyone was driving so slow. But at the same time, people are also being really stupid about driving, and they were like not giving people space. And so like somebody would want to drive really fast, and so instead of going around them, they would just get right up on their bumper. And I was like, if this person hits black ice, we're all going down, okay? So like back off. Anyways, so that was my drive, but enjoying it so far. It's been like it's very, very rom-com-y, but like it's a Sleepless in Seattle retelling, so that makes sense. And we start in his POV, which I think is interesting. I don't think romance does that a lot, but chapter 1, and this guy was like, coming to work. He's just very down about everything. He doesn't want to come to work. Everything just feels very depressing, and I'm like coming to work, not hating my job, but like not loving my job either. Feeling a little underappreciated at my job, and so I'm like, oh, this is a mood for a Thursday morning. But anyways, speaking of which, it's been 8 minutes of me yabbering when I said, oh, I'm gonna be quick, and I was not quick. So I need to go to work. I apologize for the back-to-back phone clips, but my house is so chaotic today, and I don't really know why. We were supposed to have like a ton of snow, and we did overnight, but then it kind of turned to rain, so I could have gone to the office, but it was fine. I had already kind of made up my mind that I was working from home. I wanted to come in and talk to you because I'm out running a couple errands. I needed to get dog food, and then it's Valentine's Day tonight, and we are going to try to make scallops tonight. I think I've made scallops one other time in my life, so I'm not fully confident that this is going to work, but we're going to try. I'm going to watch some YouTube videos and we'll be fine. But I wanted to go to the liquor store to get some wine to go with it tonight, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm waiting for it to open because it doesn't open until 11 o'clock, and I'm like a couple minutes early. But I wanted to talk to you because I'm 50% of the way through First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, and I am having so much fun with this book. It's not doing anything like groundbreaking, it's not doing anything revolutionary, but it's just fun, right? It's a friends to lovers romance, and I know that that's something that not as many people love. It's definitely a trope that's not as well loved as like enemies to lovers, but in contemporary romance I love a friends to lovers, and I don't know if that's because like that's my romance story. Derek and I were friends, we were co-workers before we started dating, and so it's just very like personal. I don't know, it's just fun. So basically, if you don't know what First Time Caller is about, this guy has a radio show that's not doing well. Like, it has 13 viewers or listeners, and one of them is his mom. So like, it's not doing well. And he gets this call from a preteen girl, and she's calling being like, my mom needs some dating help. And then the mom ends up getting on the phone because she thinks like, why is my preteen talking to this guy? Is this like a Dateline, the start of a Dateline story? And so then she starts talking, and the radio show ends up like blowing up, goes viral. The recording of it goes viral, and so then she comes back onto the show as like this co-host kind of thing, but they're doing this whole show where she's trying to get a date. So they're doing like a radio bachelor type thing, and so she gets this phone that the guys are like basically texting into this phone to try to like hook up with her or date her, and it's like full of these cheesy puns, which is a ton of fun. But also the guy who's running the radio show has that number as well, and so every time she gets back from the date, she ends up like texting him about it, like talking to him about it, and being like, well, it just wasn't it wasn't magical, it wasn't what I was expecting, it wasn't like or this guy was an absolute creep or whatever it is. And so it's going to like, the two of them together have really not had any interactions outside of friendship. He is kind of down bad for her, and I love that about it. Like, he's like, oh, I can't talk around her, like I'm terrible at flirting kind of thing. But then like, he has to remind himself that like, no, she's here to find a date, I am not the date. So there's we're just friends, we're just co-workers essentially. But then like, he's really down bad, and it's kind of adorable. So yeah, I'm having a good time with it. It's fun, it's light, it's rom-commy, it's perfect for Valentine's. So I will finish it up this afternoon. I've got a bunch of reports that I need to work on for work, but they're like kind of ones that I don't necessarily need to use all of my brain for, and so I'll be able to listen for a bit, and I think I only have a couple hours left, so that's gonna, I'll talk to you when I finish it. But yeah, I'm having a good time. I also like the idea of the single mom. I like those romance books. You don't see it that much. I know Christina Lauren had one, but there's like very few that I have read, and I like that because she's a little bit more mature. She's not necessarily older because she had the kid when she was like a teenager. Oh, and that was the other thing. I love the fact that she's still co-parenting with her baby daddy, and it's a really, really wonderful connection, and it's not like, there's no animosity there. There's no like, he's a crap dad or whatever. He actually is gay, and he has a husband, and they live next door. Like, the ex, the baby daddy, and his husband live next door to Maya and her daughter. So it's just like this big happy family, and I love that. It's a very positive environment, both for the girl, but also just for the reader, that like there's no negative emotions, there's no negative feelings. It's just very happy and wholesome, and I'm really enjoying that. It's not something that I necessarily always want in a romance book, but I don't know, like maybe I've been reading a lot of like darker stuff, and so this has just been a really nice palette cleanse, and yeah, I'm loving that. So we're going to finish it up today, and then tomorrow we're going to read Whirlwind, and I'm very excited about that one because tornadoes. I used to live in Oklahoma and Texas, and so tornadoes, fun. But anyways, I'm gonna go get some wine. Will bring you along tonight while we are trying to experiment with scallops, and then I'll finish the book.
Trying to think, but I can't when you're looking at me. Racking my brain for a way to tell you I'm so sorry. I wasn't ready, but I lost it when you let me look into your
Hello, happy Saturday. I forgot to talk to you guys after I finished First Time Caller. And I'm about to go get my hair done. So I was like, oh, I need to film this before my hair is a different color. Because, continuity and stuff like that. But anyways, I finished First Time Caller yesterday. I am giving it 4 stars. I had such a fun time with it. It's not as deep as I generally like my romances to be, like I was talking about, but it was still such a good time. It was sweet. It was funny. It was like very much sugar. It was a rom-com, which is what it was supposed to be. Also, it's a love letter to Baltimore. There is talk of the like local eateries and things like that, things that are happening in Baltimore that feel very close to the city. I am not from Baltimore, but I feel like if you were from there, you would really enjoy it. And I know some of the reviews have kind of said the same thing, so I feel confident telling you that. Anyways, so 4 stars. It's a win. What's not as much of a win is Whirlwind. Here, I have it on my Kindle. I am, of course, someone decides to get out of their car right next. It's fine. I'm 70% of the way through. I just started it this morning. I ended up waking up super early, which is not great. Like, why is it that during the week, cannot wake up at 5 o'clock to save my life? But then on Saturday, when I can sleep in, I wake up at 5 and I can't go back to sleep. Like, why does that happen? So anyways, I have been reading this. It's not that long. It's 230 pages, I think. So like 70% is not that far in. You can do the math. Here's the thing. I've loved Kayla's novellas before. I very much have enjoyed, I loved Silver Fox. And that's an age gap romance. That's a quick novella. And like, the thing is that those stories, even though it's mostly smut, there's still a lot of character development. This one, I don't know if she feels like she had more room to play in this size, but not enough for a full-length novella, if that makes sense. And so it feels stilted. We just had one, like the first real sex scene. There was one early on that was like rushed, but then this one is like the one where they're, taking their time and they're having fun. And it just like, while the smut itself is good, the lead up to it was a little bit repetitive, because it's like, oh no, she's my student, I can't do that, blah, blah, blah. He's my teacher, he also made me mad, he also is that, like, whatever. And it wasn't enough tension that we wanted it to still happen, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm just like, it's fine. This book is fine. It's not terrible. It's not bad, but it's not exciting me the way that her other stories have before, which is a real bummer, because this is the first one where I'm not in love with all of the characters. They also feel just very stereotypical. Like the professor is, a big famous storm chaser, but like that is his entire personality. Okay, we just found out he has a tattoo. Guess what it is? It's a tornado. Like, that's the only interest that he has, and that's weird to me. Like, you can have multiple interests, but no. And also, she's a plus size woman, and normally, okay, Kayla's plus size sex scenes are phenomenally written, and this one is fine. it's not, it doesn't celebrate the body that the other ones have, if that makes sense. It's just like, it's like her stomach was large but not too large. Like, what does that mean? What? I don't know. So anyway, it's feeling very middle of the road right now, which is a bummer, because like, A, I was excited about this one, I was hyped for this one, but B, we're ending it on like the low. We like started out on the highest note, and then we've just progressively gotten worse since then. But yeah, I'm gonna go get my hair done. My appointment is in 6 minutes, so I need to go do that. And I will come back with darker, probably, hair. I haven't decided. We'll probably just do the same thing that I normally do. We'll wrap it up and go from there. Here I was worried that my hair was gonna look very different when I came back, but it doesn't really look that different, other than like, you know, you can't see my roots anymore. But I am happy with it, so that's good. I finished Whirlwind. I finished this while I was sitting in the chair getting processed and stuff, and I think I'm giving it 3 stars. Like, for all of the reasons that I said earlier, there's not a lot to rehash about this, except that the whole thing about them not being allowed to be together because they're student and teacher, and then both of them, after being on one chase, so they've been together for like a total of a week, both of them are willing to give up their future. He's like, I'm gonna quit my job and I'll get my funding another way, because it's like so easy to get funding for weather in the United States, like weather research. Yeah, it's so easy for that. And she's like, it's fine, I'm gonna defer a semester, and you know, I'll go back to school another time. You cannot get a job in weather research or like as a storm chaser or, you know, in media unless you have a master's degree. It doesn't work, okay? So you're giving up your entire life for a person that you've known for a week. You have no idea if they're good together. What if they don't, you know, like the same food? What if they really, really like tomatoes and you don't like tomatoes? I'm just kidding. I don't like, that's not a deal breaker, but it's just kind of made me think of like really dumb things that one person could like and another wouldn't. You don't throw away your future after a week. It's fine, but I'm giving it 3 stars. Like, it was a good smutty time. The smut at the, like the smut scenes at the end were very well written, but it just was like a little too late kind of thing. And I was really hoping of more of the vibe of like the Twisters movie, especially because that's how it was marketed, and they were using a lot of marketing from the movie to, you know, market this book. And I just didn't get that same vibe, that same energy as we did from the movie. So anyways, 3 stars. I'm sorry that I keep ending my vlogs on like the worst book of the batch. It's fine. This is what happens when you just kind of mood read and you don't have a set plan in place. But anyways, I do want to do this again. I am gonna try, maybe do this monthly, maybe every other month, I'm not really sure. But like reading a couple of new releases, because I think it'll really help with my 2025 TBR. It'll help with my like 25 anticipated reads for the year. I have goals that I made back in January. Maybe I should do something to try and make those happen. If you have any new releases that you want to see my thoughts on, leave them down in the comments below. And if you do want to see what my 25 most anticipated reads of the year are, I will go ahead and leave that video right here. If you are not feeling chatty, do the tornado emoji. That is all I have for you today. If you are new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!